As Meghan Markle cashed in on Princess Diana's birthday and William's fury went off the scale, it emerged that the late great Queen did not trust Harry's American bride one bit. When he found out that the venal Duchess of Sussex was launching her new range of Chateau Meg rosé wine on July the 1st, on what would have been Di's 64th, the Prince of Wales was incandescent with rage. Wills fumed that picking that particular date to release her thrillingly expensive pink drink was wildly inappropriate. After all, his beloved mother was effectively killed by a boozed-up driver out of his mind on alcohol. William is said to be sick and tired of the weirdness of drawing parallels between Meghan and Diana. And he's freaked out by talk that his brother believes that his wife is somehow the reincarnation of his mother. Meanwhile, unsurprisingly, Harry is significantly less bothered by Meghan's shameless commercialisation of her slim connection to Diana. Partly because in his bedazzled eyes, the manipulative Miss Markle can do no wrong. But also because after more than a quarter of a century, the dim Duke still insists it was the Paris paparazzi who did for Di, which is nonsense. But on Planet Harry, his all-consuming hatred of the press has completely rewritten history. Talking of history, what can now be revealed is the astonishing truth about what Queen Elizabeth really thought of her grandson's fiancé, and her devastating verdict was one of regal disdain and profound suspicion. She regarded Meghan as a schemer who wasn't in love with Harry, but was wrapping him around her little finger, preparing to exploit his royal status for all she was worth. Subsequent events would appear to confirm that Her Majesty's astute observation was bang on the money. But how has this incendiary information come to light nearly 3 years after her sad death? This sensational tale is now being told thanks to royal biographer Sally Bedell-Smith and her conversations with the Queen's cousin, confidant and best friend, Lady Elizabeth Anson. Relaying what she and the Sovereign had discussed about the actress who stole Harry's heart, Lady Anson declared, "We hope but don't quite think she is in love. We think she engineered it all. The problem, bless his heart, is that Harry is neither bright nor strong, and she is both." Well, strong anyway. I've always reckoned that although Meghan is undoubtedly cleverer than Harry, so is my dog. So being brighter than the intellectually challenged Duke doesn't exactly make Meghan the new Einstein. That said, Lady Anson and the Queen saw straight through the wily woman from Hollywood who artfully schemed her way into a starring role in the British royal family. According to the highly respected Bedell-Smith, renowned for her cautious and restrained biographies, Harry and Meghan's 2018 marriage left the Queen distraught. She was deeply upset that Meghan wouldn't tell her about her wedding dress and stunned when Harry was unconscionably rude to her for a solid 10 minutes. The worried monarch also noted that relations between Meghan and Kate were so calamitous that their feud was taking a terminal toll on Harry's closeness to William. Then the fairy tale wedding. And they all lived unhappily ever after. Lady Elizabeth Anson died aged 79 in 2020, but not before she confided the Queen's darkest fears. Meanwhile, back to the tin pot tycoon Duchess and her relentless cashing in. And it's wine time. Yes, for a minimum of 3 bottles at a wallet-busting $90 plus $20 shipping, you too can savour the delights of the latest in a ludicrously long list of celebrity rosés. Brad Pitt, John Bon Jovi, Kylie Minogue, Sarah Jessica Parker, Dolly Parton, and so many more are already old hands at the fame game wine trade. Originality never was Meghan's strong suit. But will Jane and Joe Public really lay out $110, 80 British pounds for the Duchess's plonk? You decide. It goes without saying, of course, that demand has been so extraordinary that supplies of Chateau Meg swiftly dried up. As with all of her unremarkable produce, she's sold out. So what's new? Same old, same old. As a business model, nothing ever being available seems to me to leave a lot to be desired. But there's one more niggling problem. Exactly what is all this stuff the newly renamed Meghan Markle is flogging us at astronomical prices? Is it homemade? Is it hell? Is it craft-produced? Is it hell? It's mass-produced. So if you want to pay through the nose for factory-made scam jam, those ridiculous dried flowers her ladyship is so obsessed with, and lashings of unfine wine, go right ahead. Me, I think I'll take a pass. Cheers.
Rupert Bell is here, Talks Royal Correspondent. Front page of The Sun today. It says Air Miles Andy cleared for takeoff. So, will we be seeing him back working again? Rupert, very good morning to you.
I don't think we'll see him back working. Good morning, Mike. I don't think that's going to be on the agenda for some time because while he's never been found guilty, it's obviously by association with Jeffrey Epstein, and obviously that infamous interview sort of left him out in the cold by his own actions. So I'm not sure there is any rush to get him back into the public fold. Obviously, the FBI investigation into whatever links with Jeffrey Epstein and seems to have been put on hold on a wider scale, not just around Prince Andrew. So I'm sure lots of other people might be breathing a bit of a huge sigh of relief. Somehow it has now been brushed back under the cover. But for Prince Andrew, he still is, I think, in the eyes of the British public, persona non grata. So, yes, it might mean he'll be able to travel and go abroad again. I think he's had one trip in recent times where he flew on a private jet to Bahrain, I'm led to believe. So it might mean that he can get out of and not be stuck in the royal lodge. Right. But I do think there is a sense of exasperation within the royal family with him as a whole, because he doesn't, he's very much sees things his own way. There's no sense of mea culpa necessarily from him. He is convinced by his rightness at times.
Yes, well, I was going to say, you know, knowing him as you do, and we all kind of have a view of him, and, you know, he's not, shall we say, imbued with a great deal of humility, is he, by the sounds of him? And I imagine he would quite like to make this a point of principle, to say, look at me, I never did anything wrong in the first place, so now I'm going to start pushing my way out into more sort of sociable events and possibly being more visible. Maybe not quite getting air miles around the world and playing golf tournaments in Dubai, but I would expect him to try and prove a point, wouldn't you?
What I probably want to do is try and generate some money and an income, because of with his business links. But those business links have often caused him to get himself into a bit of a pickle, and that's where he's got to be very careful. And you know, there are talks of he's been involved of consultancy. He presumably has a very extensive contacts book, so people might think that that's bringing people together and that's a way that he could earn money. But in terms of being a working member of the royal family and being back out on the road and supporting his brother, that's not going to happen. We'll probably see him at the sort of major sort of semi-private public events like Christmas and maybe one or two other occasions. That might be easier for him to be seen in public. But actually in a working capacity, that at the moment that is just not on the agenda. The King is not ready, I don't think, to offer him an olive branch and say, we need you back out on the road. Because actually, more importantly, he may say that, but does the public want him to be representing the royal family? And that's the balancing act here, right. Because if he's going out and about doing things, but actually is not going to actually be that welcome by whatever organisation it is, what's the point of putting him back out on the road again?
Well, that's right. And I guess it also depends as well on what the King's view of him is, and perhaps even William.
I think there's a sense of frustration with him, that he doesn't ever seem to read the room. I think that's part of the problem. There are two members of the royal family who are in that situation, and it may be that because their arrogance has got them into into this situation.
Rare entertainment story relating to Meghan Markle. So obviously I'm going to do it from Los Angeles, California. Let's talk about reports from Radar that the creators of Suits and all involved in the Suits reboot are really unhappy that Meghan refused to be involved in said reboot because it's been canceled. Did you know it's been canceled? I did know it was canceled because I actually liked it. However, I don't feel like there was a lot of press around it being canceled. I love Peacock. Peacock is one of my favorite streaming platforms for Dateline, NBC, and Southern Charm. So, Meghan Markle is being slammed as arrogant for turning her back on Suits LA, the NBC spinoff of the TV legal drama that gave her fame. I'd actually argue that Prince Harry gave her fame, but here we are. With insiders telling Radar Online, her refusal to appear in a cameo helped doom the new series to cancellation. Markle left the TV show after 7 seasons when she became engaged to Prince Harry, although rumors were that she was already being written out of the show. And I think that's important to stress. Like, she didn't peace out because of Prince Harry. If Tom Bauer is worth listening to, which I believe he is. The 43-year-old Duchess, Timu, was a struggling actress before nabbing a slice of stardom, playing legal assistant Rachel Zane on Suits. This was between 2011 and 2018, leaving a year before the series ended because of her romance with now husband Prince Harry. Really? Really, guys? Now LA's reboot, Suits LA, has been axed after just 1 season, during which Markle snubbed making a guest appearance, and sources are branding her an ingrate. Oh my gosh, not the first time she's been called an ingrate. Meghan would not be in the position she is today if producer Aaron Korsh hadn't cast her in the original show, said an insider, and it was a bit arrogant of her, not to mention bad karma, to totally turn her back on the franchise that gave her such a huge break. Obviously, there's a lot of disappointment among the cast right now. The consensus is that if Meghan had wanted to lend her support, it would have made all the difference. Honestly, I hate to be this person, but it would have. Can you imagine the press surrounding that show had Meghan popped up, even just for a second? At least in terms of perception, but she clearly had other ideas. Suits bigwigs were begging the mother of Harry's 2 children in February to step in for an appearance, as did original Suits leading man Gabriel Match. As a source noted, the biggest gift for the producers is obviously Meghan Markle, and I do remember that story circulating. I do believe that they really wanted her. She, without a doubt, is a headline stealer. So yes, that would have done great things for the general conversation around the show. But sources say the ambitious Duchess is now beyond being just an actress, and her Netflix deal allows her to produce and star in shows like the current cooking series with Love Meghan. But I see celebrities and personalities, politicians even. Remember Murphy Brown? Remember when JFK Jr. did a little cute guest spot on Murphy Brown? I know he's not a politician, although he would have been. But you can be bigger than where you consider yourself, not just an actress, and still make a guest appearance. In fact, it's typically is really great PR. I remember when Britney was having issues with I don't want to say her brands because it was all over the place, but Britney Spears, I think it was How I Met Your Mother, her team wanted her to do like a little guest spot, and that was to calm the chaos surrounding the media when it came to Britney Spears at like the height of you know what. So why would she miss an opportunity like that, especially when there's so much negative press surrounding her? I think that it was truly a missed opportunity. I don't think this surprises you that Page Six is reporting that Harry and Meghan are reducing staff to save money. They don't say I don't think that they say exactly who's dropped off lately, but they say the grand total of professional staff is 25. And it says Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have scaled back the size of their household staff in an effort to save money. The former working royals have seen their staff numbers dwindle since they relocated to the US. They've cut ties with their comms team as they focus on saving cash. We did hear last month that they lost 6 employees and including 2 of their in-house reps. Now we're told the grand tally is 25 since 2020. I mean, the return on investment, it's not there when you look at what we can see them accomplishing. The Netflix deal, they haven't re-signed. They lost Spotify, approximately $40,000 made from Lemonada. I mean, I don't know if the return on investment is there for all of that staff.
Well, I don't think the communications teams have been very good, but I'm not sure they're allowed to be very good. Is that true? I mean, let's be honest, because they can't do what they want. I mean, some of the communications have been quite appalling. I mean, even on the 4th of July, I mean, didn't we see an Instagram with a platter of some, just laying out fruit and some cheese? And that was supposed to be brilliant. Whoop-de flipping do. I'm sorry. I mean, if you want, I can go and get some, I'll go and get something from the supermarket, which I've just bought to have as my supper here in Wimbledon, and put it on, and then I'll sort of sprinkle something on it and say, look what I've done. And that cocktail, I mean, I'm sorry, I don't know. Did you see that cocktail one? She put out that cocktail with some, what did she say? Squish some raspberries. Then she thought some gin and tonic on top, and then put some blueberries on top, and then added some, I don't know, some ice with flour sprinkles or something. And you go, well, that's clever. I'm sorry. I mean, it's a gin and tonic with fruit. It's like, with Pimm's. Pimm's is basically, it's a good Pimm's. You put a bit of that at Pimm's. Then you put some lemonade, and if you want to add it a little bit, you may add a splash of vodka. But the important thing is you then just heap it with fruit, mint, cucumber, strawberries. It's a perfect British summer drink, and that's Wimbledon. Pimm's is a classic thing. It's like our friends with the fizzy drink that comes in a red can, the secret recipe. No one knows what's in a Pimm's, but that was just naff. And then that plate of food. I'm sorry, just sort of laid out a platter.
You're looking at it going, anybody else would not score a Netflix deal with this display.
Well, I mean, no. And then at the same time, the communication team are battling a series, everything's been a negative. Now, you want to say, but the podcasts have gone down badly. So they actually haven't been allowed to do their job. So I can see why, because nothing is turning to gold at the moment. And I don't know what the average salary in the PR world is, but I'm sure, it's punchy, isn't it, in your neck of the woods? I'm sure it's a pretty near a 6, some people will be thinking they deserve nearly a 6-figure sum in dollars. I think I'd want about a 7-figure sum to work for that family. And then, and take it on the chin. And I'd make sure I'd have a get-out clause if I was given short shrift after about 2 weeks. But it's not an easy business employing anybody. And if you're going to run a PR team, they've got to be allowed to do their job. And, we can see that the PR has not been rock and roll at the moment. Look, you see it, even around the launch of the managing 1 minute we've got products, and hasn't the rosé already sold out? I mean, what's that about?
And you had to buy. I mean, I laughed when I logged onto the website when it first went live, and oh my gosh, there's just cute little dogs everywhere. While you were talking, a plane went ahead of me, promoting Nicolas Cage's new movie, and it was so loud, so I was like trying to hear.
No, I never heard it. Never heard it.
I muted my mic.
What's it called? What's this one called?
It's about surfing. It's about surfing, which is why it's over the beach. But anyway,
no, horror. Sorry, it's not. If he got horror movie, what? Suddenly he's got a snake in his surfboard or something.
Yeah, exactly. It's the snakes on the surfboard. But it was interesting because she conveniently made you buy 3, 6, or 9 at a time. And the second I saw that, I said, "This is their new strategy to sell out. You're required to buy in bulk."
Well, yeah, and I can understand, if you're shipping. So buying 3 makes sense. Why buy 1? You know, because that takes.
But it's new, so there's no guarantee that you like it. Is my
No, but I mean, no, there's no guarantee. Obviously, we're not going to get it over here because presumably you can't ship it here. The only way you're going to do it is if someone brings it over, and I'm sure there are media outlets over here who are desperately trying to get their mitts on it. But if it was sold out in about, we're back to square one again. So what's the point? If you're going to launch a product, make sure there's, and particularly if you're selling it at, whatever it is, quite punchy sums plus postage and packaging. And I don't know whether every state, you can't ship some alcohol into some states. It's not straightforward alcohol in the United States. So every state seems to have a different rule, if I'm not mistaken. You all feel you have to walk out of the liquor store with your sort of secret stash in your brown paper bag. In some states, isn't that right? I don't know what it's like in California, but I imagine what.
Yeah, I went to visit my grandma one time, and I was in a dry county. I went into Walmart, and I was like, "Can you point me in the direction of Champagne?" I was much younger then, and they were like, "You're in a dry county, girl." We were told this was going to be the year of the Markle Sparkle, Kev. Is that what you're feeling as we like cruise into July?
Well, no, I mean, we always keep coming back to this, as this was the couple, Harry and Meghan. They were going to change the world, the Archwell Foundation. They were going to make the world a better place. They were going to work for worthy causes, look after the underprivileged, help the poor and do remarkable good works. And what have we ended up with? Some actress who used to be in suits selling scam jam, and now Meghan Chateau Meg wine. I mean, their achievements don't seem to be very much. And Harry, meanwhile, seems to be doing nothing. And then against all of this, her venal cashing in on her royal status. It's getting really, really ridiculous now. We've suddenly got this drumbeat at the background, these extraordinary revelations about what Lady Elizabeth Anson, the Queen's cousin and best friend, confidant, said about what the Queen thought about Meghan Markle. The Queen saw through Meghan Markle almost from day one. And Lady Anson told Sally Bedell-Smith, the respected royal biographer, that the Queen essentially feared that Meghan didn't love Harry, and she was just using him for his royal status to see what she could make out of it. And so that is now becoming a very big story. Yeah. These recollections of what the Queen thought about Meghan. And Meghan, we already know, is absolutely furious that this is coming out.
It is funny to hear about the way that they handle some of these things. And that's a story, the way that they handle some of these things. Page 6 reported over the weekend that Harry, let me quote it so that I get it right. Insiders told us that the couple were infuriated and upset by an unflattering Vanity Fair cover story in January. We were all over this. It really, truly was. Yeah. It destroyed these two. I mean, any sort of argument Meghan Markle tried to make about not being a bully, the Hollywood Reporter and Vanity Fair was like, we need you to sit down because we have receipts over here, including at the time, I doubt they're still with them, but at the time, Hollywood Reporter specifically said, we talked to current employees. But the Vanity Fair article said that Meghan was cold and withholding to staffers at the drop of a dime if something went poorly. Multiple sources told Page 6 that Harry was furious at the story and desperate to protect his wife, pushing his staff to work on an Us Weekly cover story, quoting former staffers saying that they loved working for the pair. I mean, it's just so... I mean, I guess I expect nothing more from Prince Harry than the worst PR move ever, because we read right through that Us Weekly story, didn't we?
Of course we did. And I like the way the Vanity Fair cover piece is being described as unflattering. It was 8,000 words. It was a total destruction, a very, very immaculately journalistically researched destruction, talking to more and more people about what a boss she was. And it wasn't just saying she was cold. It said that she was a flat out and out terrible bully who reduced grown men to tears. One member of staff at least had to go off to book into a clinic for therapy. They were so traumatized by what Meghan had done to them. So this is 8,000 words, immaculately researched. Now, when Harry goes around, and also, as you quite rightly say, before that, a few months before that, a similar article in The Hollywood Reporter, another respected publication, talking to 12 members of staff, one of them current, 11 former, same picture. That was where the famous phrase came out. She's a tyrant in high heels who reduces grown men to tears. Hollywood, then Vanity Fair built on that, made it an even bigger story. So here's the thing. So Harry stomping around, oh, what have they done to Meghan? Right, let's do a piece with Us magazine and say how wonderful we are and all that. Well, wait,
Kev, you're absolutely right. You just corrected Page Six's timeline, because Page Six just said that Us Weekly article was in response to Vanity Fair, but you are right. That was in response to the Hollywood Reporter. And we could not believe at the time that their solution to fighting one of the biggest trade publications in the entertainment industry was to go to Us Weekly magazine, which is like a grocery store rag. And so imagine their stress meetings, their crisis management meetings after the Vanity Fair article, which was so much more devastating for them than the Hollywood Reporter article, because Harry was furious with this much text. Imagine 8,000 words. Page Six reported that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are reducing their staff to save money. And I have the story right here. So let's go over it. And after that, I want to read you some exclusive quotes that I have from somebody that worked with Harry and Meghan that tell us that even these numbers don't match up. Even these numbers don't quite capture, Page Six's, don't quite capture the truth behind the turnover, the body count, as Maureen Callahan and I sometimes call it, of former Sussex employees, the Sussex Survivors Club, as they're known. So let's just take a look at this Page Six story here. It says Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have cut ties with their comms team as they focus on saving money. Page Six is told just last month it was revealed the renegade royals had parted ways with 6 more employees, including their 2 in-house reps. Now we're told the tally of staff the couple has lost or let go since they quit as working royals back in 2020 is up to 25, with some departures not yet publicized. And my source says that doesn't even begin to describe the amount of turnover that's actually happening within the house. Yes, I've mentioned this here or there, but I've got the actual quotes in today's video for you. We're going to take a deep dive into what it's like to work for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. The Sussex's Netflix deal, reported to be worth $100 million, though sources say it's actually closer to $20 million, is also up this year. It's the same old story. They cycle through stuff as quickly as normal people cycle through toilet paper. Oof. Milk lasts longer than their employees, said one royal source. The couple had a hit with their Harry and Meghan docuseries and household tips show with Love Meghan. Oh my God, prove that. There is no question that the Harry and Meghan docuseries was analytically a success. But analytically, I don't think With Love Meghan was a success. If you are judging based on how many TikTok parodies were created, sure. But I don't feel like the return on investment is there for TikTok parodies. But less attention was paid to Heart of Invictus and Polo. What about Live to Lead, Page Six? Let's just completely ignore that existence, right? However, the streamer is now prioritizing first look deals rather than overall exclusive contracts, which means they could resign for significantly less money than their current deal, we're told. This could prove a headache for the couple, who has a heap of expenses from traveling to an annual security bill believed to be around $2 million. It cost Prince Harry like $2 million to go after the government for his UK security, at least. That's money he could be using towards at-home security. As Page Six revealed, they splashed out $14.65 million on their home after moving to the United States. It's now believed to be worth around $27 million. Well, I'd say that's a good investment. Deeds show they took out a $9.5 million mortgage to be paid plus interest by the year 2050, indicating they put down a $5 million deposit. They also have to pay a huge yearly property tax of $288,000. That's quite the commitment Prince Harry made to that home. They also foot the bill for their staff and communications alongside their personal office, the Archwell Foundation, production, as well as employees at their estate in Montecito, California. We're told the Sussexes have also to pay for, oh, I didn't realize this. This does surprise me. Page Six claims that the Sussexes have to pay for a portion of their faux foreign tours, which have seen them visit Nigeria and Colombia. Part of the perks, I really thought, of them doing those tours was that it was all taken care of by the government. But Page Six says that they do have to pay for some of those expenses. So that's interesting to find out. Harry and Meghan have now lost hardworking Kyle Boulia, their Los Angeles-based deputy press secretary. Who needs a press secretary when you're just an unemployed prince? I ask you this. Charlie Gibson, who had been serving as the couple's European communications director. They also lost Jisha Tank, Archwell's director of communications, and Leanne Cashin, formerly head of operations at Archwell. Markle's social media manager and a personal assistant who have not been named have also departed. Meredith Maines remains the couple's chief communications officer after coming on board in February after their last PR boss, Ashley Hinson, left to start her own consultancy firm. The only other in-house rep is Emily Robinson, who ironically worked on the Netflix royal drama The Crown. Maines has also hired a team from Method Communications to help. As the Duke and Duchess's business and philanthropic interests grow, I mean, I rarely hear about those, I have made the strategic decision to move towards a more traditional communication structure of specialists agency support, said Maines in a statement. Transitioning from a team of 2 to an agency support staff of 8, operating across 5 different time zones, will give international media and stakeholders better access and, critically, faster response times to inquiries. In a financial sense, it's cheaper to employ a PR firm as opposed to having full-time staff, said an industry expert. There have, of course, been reports that Harry and Meghan are not exactly the easiest to work with. What a delicate way of saying that Harry and Meghan are reportedly a pain in the ass.